Thank you for being with me today, my dear gardening friends. I haven't posted in a while, sorry for that. I was just totally taken down by all the horrible news from my native land, Ukraine. But there are some good, hopeful signs coming out of that area of the world, and my heart is very hopeful today. And the fact that spring is coming with a full speed in our gardens make it so much more easier to endure all the hard news. And spring is in my garden too, and today we are going to talk about trimming spring, pruning David Austen shrub roses. Alright, the first question which I will ask myself is there a difference in trimming procedures between David Austen shrub roses and all other roses? Yes, there is. And the difference is to the advantage of David Austen roses, because one of the good things about shrub roses, which majority of David Austens are, is that you can trim them short or tall. You control the height of the rose, and shrub roses would be very forgiving, which is not the same with floribundas and other hybrid teas roses. And why is that? Well, if you do a very short trim on a rose, the tendency in the bush is that bigger buds are being stimulated, and those bigger buds produce stronger, more singular and bigger blooms. And that feature is very good for people who are displaying roses, who are displaying the blooms, who are focusing their attention only on blooms and nice, big, strong, singular shoots. If we have a tendency to under-prune our roses, shrub roses, will then stimulate all the buds, and rose can flop or create too much of thick of a growth, and then we have to deal with all sorts of fungal diseases. David Austen roses, shrub roses, are usually grown between 3 to 5 feet, and the general rule would be for those beginner rosarians just to take down 1/3 of a shrub in spring. I think that majority of people who are gardening and taking care of the roses in their gardens are those who are either afraid to do the spring pruning of the roses, or they look forward to it with gusto. Those folks who are feeling timid about spring trimming their roses usually don't know how to do it. They're beginner gardeners. They're afraid that they are going to kill the rose if they trim it incorrectly. Right away I'm saying to you, no, you cannot kill the rose. You have to really try hard to kill this tenacious survivor. And the second group of rosarians are those who look forward to this procedure every spring, because it's like a very nice, clean job you can do on your rose, prepare it for spring. Rose looks so much better, not congested, and the process of trimming it gives us almost like a beautiful satisfaction that the job is well done. So hopefully after this video, majority of you would be in the second group of rosarians who will look forward to trimming roses and wouldn't have any fears about it. So as I said before, it's fairly easy to cut David Austen shrub roses. Since shrub roses are not grown in our gardens for display of, display of blooms in competitions, shrub roses, as long as we achieve a very harmonious formation of the shrub, we are good to go. And this can be achieved by annual spring trimming. Now, it's very important, before you trim your rose, ask yourself, what do you have in front of you? Well, in front of me, I have I call it display rose, my Lady of Shallot. I always film this rose for you guys because it's at the back of my garden. It's a very open area. It's just very easy to film. In the front, there would be a lot of passerbys and they will be distracting me. But here, this rose is a perfect location. So in front of me, I have David Austen rose. I have a shrub rose. I have rose, which is fairly tall shrub, plus it is a repeat blooming rose. It blooms continuously through the summer. Why is that important? Well, first of all, David roses, usually they are shrub roses. Majority of David roses are shrub roses, and this trimming will apply to majority of David Austen roses. Second, why is it important that it's a repeat blooming rose? Well, if you have all the variety of roses, old roses, which are blooming only once in spring, the trimming schedule is different. Those roses have a tendency, most of them have a tendency to bloom on old wood. So if you trim them in spring, you basically will take all the blooms down. So for those roses, you have to trim them after their single bloom of the year, which would be late spring, beginning of summer, some of them. But here I have a repeat bloomer, so I give a trim for this rose in spring, early spring or late winter. Now, in warmer climates, for example, Great Britain roses are probably already trimmed by this time. For me, I got it in zone 6-7 Connecticut. For me, a time of trimming would be middle of March, end of March, depending on the season, when rose is just ready to wake up and all the buds are nice and red. But in colder climates, usually people wait till rose is waking up, and that would be the time to give the haircut for the rose. Now, David Austen, a good advice from David Austen is, instead of just taking down the height of the bush, you take down the old growth of the bush. You cut out all the diseased, spindly growth, some of the old stems. Here you can see that I have two roses planted together, and the difference between younger shoots and older shoots is very obvious. You can see that all the shoots are diseased, some of dieback happened, and generally they're not going to be as productive. For example, look at this stem. You see this stem? It has a lot of dieback, and because it's spring still, I suspect in summer this stem will be all dead. So it's a good candidate to be taken out and cut out altogether. You see how these two are rubbing against each other? You see there is a damage there. That's a good entry point for the diseases to come in. So everything what is crossing, what is spindly, you see this is dead, would be taken out, and I'm going to show you how I do this for you not to have any reservations whatsoever, how to approach your rose. Oh gosh, I got stuck. And another thing, a pair of good secateurs will do a good job, and a pair of rose gardening gloves. The gloves which are long and protect you all. Look at my hand. Just look at my hand, what I did to myself. That's not of the rose. I was taking care after the tree. I was cutting the tree down, and I didn't do it in my gloves, so I got nicely scratched. But this baby rose I'm going to approach in my gloves. Okay, Lady of Shallot rose is tall, so I'm not going to trim it very much. And by the way, decision to trim it short or to trim it tall, it's up to you. And if you don't know how to do it, if you should do it shorter or taller, if you cut it too short, your rose will have, and it's too short for a variety of a rose, your rose will produce not a very nicely shaped shrub, and you will know it. But if you cut your rose too tall, it can flop and open under the weight of all its stems. So look at your rose, and in several years you would be able to tell if you're cutting it too short or too tall. Okay, when you look at both of these roses, I have two of them growing, you can see that this rose is much bigger than this one, because this one, the right one, doesn't have a lot of sun, and that rose is slightly taking over. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to trim this rose as heavy as that one. This spindly stuff, I don't know, I will cut it out. I don't like it. Let me see. I will cut out diseased and stems which are rubbing against each other. All the way, if I can, all the way to the bottom. Okay. I'm afraid that this stem is diseased. One more dead stem. Oh gosh. Okay. Again, everything rubbing should be cut out. All this formation I kind of don't like. I don't know if this will... Maybe I will just cut it here. All right. Now, this is getting to be too congested, so I am taking all this out. All the spindly things are out. I'm cutting my rose pretty high this year. Let's see how this beauty will respond. Try to cut to the out-facing bud. No, you know what? This formation is too congested. As much as I don't want to cut this branch, you see how it's already almost dead? Look at this. You see, as much as I don't want to cut this big branch, look, it's starting to die already in the middle, so it's getting to be too old. I'm going to take it all down, which it's a pity, but it's okay. A rose will grow back. It is old. And when we take old stems out, a rose has all the energy to produce new stems. Otherwise, you know what, it's too much to work with cicatrices. I'm going to take my my saw. The reason I'm going to use the saw is I don't want to damage another stem. So, let me see how I will take this baby down. All right, and the rest, no, I cannot. All right. Okay. All right. As you can see, the bush is opening up. I don't see anything dead here. I see one of the stems is really old, so I'm cutting it out. Try to go as far as you can to the bottom and cut as close to the ground as you can. Okay. All this is out. Now, taking down I try to cut to the buds, out-facing buds, but if I'm not successful, not a big. You know what? When you have a lot of roses, even the mechanical hedge trimmers will do the job. Otherwise, because I have not many roses, I can do it with hand pruners. This one is crossing. Gosh, I'm cutting it all out. This is too tall. Where is the bud? Out-facing bud, good. This, too congested. Too congested. I'm just cutting it all out. Now this spindly growth is annoying. Out-facing bud. Out-facing bud. Why? Spindly growth is out. Alright, out-facing bud. This is, you know what? I'm cutting it all out. Now the question is, out-facing bud. Okay, good. Now the question is, okay, all this garbage. This branch, it's okay, cutting it out. Let's see what I can do with it. You know what? The question is with this branch, it's kind of old. I don't like all this growth on top of it. It's damaged already, but I don't want to take it out because it's such a big part of the bush. You know what? I'm going to cut it all together. Oh gosh. And you know what? These two are rubbing against each other. What do I do? Oh gosh. All right. I will do this. And out-facing bud, where is it? No, it doesn't look good at all. Okay, I'm taking down to here. That's it. And you see, it's almost dead. Oh well. Now, what else do we have here? Okay. All right, so what do we have left here? Quite a different story. Let me see. You know what? I don't like this formation, this thing here. It doesn't look good. You know what I will do? This is too congested here. Okay. All right. So nothing is rubbing, nothing is touching each other. Everything, this is skinny, I will take it out. Everything is looking good. This is too skinny, I take it out. This is too skinny, I take it out. Nothing is rubbing, everything is good, everything is fairly youngish. This is all the stem. These are young stems, this is the youngest ones. The shape of the bush is open, it's in the shape of a fan, nothing is sticking too much. The only question is this stem, which is almost dead, but I don't want to take it out because that's a big part of the rose to take out. So let it live. You can say, okay, let me lower this to make it nice and balanced of a shrub. Okay, looking good, huh? What do you say? All right, looking good. Now what I'm going to do, finally, I have these beautiful warm nights over 40 where I can spray my rose with the dormant horticultural oil. By the way, here's a video. I'm explaining why I'm going to do that. Now the next step for my rose would be to watch for borers, stem borers. See these open stems? We have a risk of stem borers, so I'm going to watch these stems before they heal. Because while stems are raw, open and raw, borers can come in and make a nest in them. So I'm going to watch them. In case I see any activity, I'm going to put the Elmer's glue on top of every stem, just in case. Some people do it preventatively right away. I probably will do it later if I see any activity going on. Otherwise, stems will heal and then later they will be too hard for borers to go in. Okay, so that's it. The trimming is done. My rose is ready to go into spring. I'm going to clean all the leaves again, all this debris, get it out. As you can see, I have stones here. It's because in the fall I was fighting rabbits here, and I must say I won. They gave up building their houses here. I will clean all the stuff. We'll try to open up area around the root system of the rose, just level it nicely and make it all ready for a level of mulch later, when spring would be coming in its big, nice, beautiful season. And rose is ready to go. As you can see, it has little diseases here and there. I'm going to spray it with horticultural dormant oil, and oil will take care of all of this beautiful stuff. Thank you everyone for being with me on my channel. Do subscribe. Happy gardening, and I will see you next time.